So you were laid off from your job. Now what? You probably jumped onto YouTube searching for videos on how to write a good resume, how to write an amazing cover letter, how to do a job search to find a job during difficult times. And that's great. There is a ton of videos on YouTube that will help you with all of those things. But what about how to deal with a layoff? What about finding the resilience and the strength that you need to manage yourself and to manage other people around you when you get laid off? That's what this video will help you with. I'm going to talk about 4 specific things: how to deal with yourself, how to deal with others, how to deal with your future, and how to deal with your present. This is a message you need to hear if you have recently lost your job. The first thing you need to hear is that no matter what you were told when you were laid off, it is not a reflection on you. It is not a reflection on the value that you bring, that you can contribute to a team or to a company. Sometimes when a company fires people, they will be honest with you and tell you the genuine reason as to why they have to let you go. And in this current economy, in this economic downturn that we are currently experiencing, you might hear things like, due to the economic downturn, we're forced to downsize. It doesn't make it less painful when you hear these things, because at the end of the day, you're still being fired from your job. But when you know it's an external force that is completely outside of your control, it does make it a little bit easier to digest and to take. But not all companies are as truthful as this, and sometimes when they lay people off at work, they will actually lie about your performance, and they will tell you that it's because of bad performance, that is why you're getting fired. You weren't productive enough, you weren't a team player, you didn't fit into the corporate culture. They move the blame onto you so they don't have to admit they're going through a tough time financially, or so they don't have to admit to their own failures. But this causes you to internalize the blame, and it makes the layoff much harder to deal with. It also makes you question your capability in the next job that you go for. Of course, there are situations where you may not have been performing up to expectations. This happens, it's life, right? It's a career, it's a learning journey. But what's really important here is that you identify the truth. You identify whether the reason the company gave you as to why you are being fired is the truth. This is really important, so you don't carry with you an untruth that somebody has said to you about your performance at work, and so you don't question your future capability in the next job that you go for. I recommend you do 3 things in order to work out whether what the company has told you is true. Look at your past performance reviews. Have these issues been brought up previously? If they haven't, then it could be an untruth. Talk to your co-workers, find out what their opinion or what their interpretation is on this kind of reason that you got for being fired. And also look internally, be true to yourself. Genuinely ask yourself, was my performance up to scratch, or did I need to improve in some areas? It's important that you remember that a layoff does not define you. It is just a small disruption in your lifelong journey. Look at it as a chance for you to develop resilience, as a chance for you to develop strength that you will need so you can keep moving forward. And finally, don't hurt yourself with negativity, but you do need to be lucid as to what your vulnerabilities or your weaknesses are. The second element to dealing with a layoff is dealing with other people. This is probably one of the most difficult things that you have to deal with when you've been laid off. It's the reaction of other people. It's the treatment that other people give you. And I'm not really talking here about people who are kind or supportive or people who are empathetic. Obviously, those people are fine to deal with. It's more so the people who look down on you, the people who think less of you because you have lost your job. There's a certain stigma that goes with being laid off. And for people who have never experienced any economic downturn, any job difficulty, they can quickly assume that the person got laid off because they simply weren't good enough, because they simply weren't good at performing their job. When in reality, as you probably know, there are many reasons outside of your control that can cause you to get laid off at work. But not everyone understands this. They will treat you differently. As a result, they will look down on you. They might even think you're a loser simply because you lost your job regardless of whether it was your fault or not. And it's this difference in treatment that you experience is what is really, really difficult to deal with when you've been laid off. Mostly because you come to the realization that the relationships you had before with various people were fake. They only liked you because they thought you were successful, because they thought you were on the right track. But in their eyes, now, because you've been laid off, you're not. So they start to change their interactions with you. They might start to distance themselves from you. And this is really painful. This is extra pain that you do not need when you are already going through the difficult experience and the difficult time of being laid off, having to deal with that, having to find a new job as well. What you need to understand here about those people who are treating you differently is that they are projecting fear. Specifically, they are fearful that what happened to you could one day happen to them. They don't want to know about it. They don't even want to entertain that that possibility could exist, that they could be fired one day, because honestly, they wouldn't know what to do if they were in your situation. So they ignore the whole reason as to why you were fired. They put it down to the fact that you caused this, that you were to blame, and they treat you like an outcast. Now, I know this is not fair. It is not nice to deal with, but what you can do in this situation to try and manage it and manage those people, you need to surround yourself with people who genuinely care about you. And I'm sure you can find at least one person in your life who genuinely cares about you, who can show you true empathy and true sympathy as well for the fact that you have lost your job. Also, avoid people who treat you differently. Avoid people who make you feel bad about yourself. You do not need that kind of treatment at this time. It's a difficult enough situation for you to go through. Right now, you don't need to surround yourself with people who are going to make you feel worse about yourself. Surround yourself with people who are going to support you, who are going to give you positive energy, who are also going to empower you. And take this as a lesson for how people work, because this is a very valuable lesson that you will learn during tough times, but you will be able to use to your advantage in the good times. And remember, every tough time is followed by a good time. So good times are coming for you. Dealing with an uncertain future is another difficult part of being laid off and something that you do need to manage. So when you had a job, you were used to getting up every day with a purpose. You had a schedule, you had a list of tasks that you needed to do, you had goals that you were working towards for the next 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years. You were productive. You were building a better life. You were working towards something that meant something to you. Now you're left with an empty schedule. Every morning when you wake up, your future is uncertain. The goals you were working towards for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years time, you don't even know if you'll be able to achieve those goals anymore. Everything is up in the air. You once had structure in your life, a purpose every day when you woke up. Now it's gone. It's just disappeared. You're living in uncertainty and you probably feel that you have no control whatsoever in your life. The best way to deal with chaos in the future is to bring structure and clarity to the present. Force a schedule upon yourself. Keep a routine. Get up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. every morning. Go for a walk or do some kind of exercise to get moving and also to feel healthy and to feel positive. Develop some kind of routine that you stick to and you do every morning and every afternoon. The morning and the afternoon routine can include things that you need to do for your job search, and at the end of this video I will go through some specific steps that you will need to and you should take when you're doing a job search. But your morning or afternoon routine should also include something that you enjoy doing, because this will bring positive energy to your life. You remember all those things that you wanted to do when you were employed but you didn't have time for? Well, now you have the time to do those things. When you bring positive energy back into your life, this is energy that you can leverage when you are going to do your job search. The key to dealing with your future and feeling positive about your future in an uncertain time or a chaotic time is to feel that you are progressing. Progressing is the key to keeping a straight mind when you're going through this difficult time. If you stay at home every day, sit in your pajamas all day, every day, the only thing you're going to do is depress yourself and be a victim of your own circumstances. You need to take action to feel that you have control over your future, because I guarantee, I know that you do. The fourth way to deal with a layoff is to deal with the present. What should you spend your time doing? How can you constructively use your time so that you are improving your current situation and your life situation? So there are 4 areas that you could work on: job search, skill building, networking, or starting a business venture. So when it comes to job search, these are the things that you will need to do. You will need to update your CV. You will need to craft a great cover letter that can be customized for each job that you apply for. You should update your LinkedIn profile. You should search for and apply for jobs online. You should contact recruiters, connect with recruiters, talk to them about your situation and what jobs you are looking for. You should also make a list of companies that you want to work for. Try to apply for jobs directly through that corporate website, or perhaps connect with people who work in those companies to start a conversation and see if there are any job openings for you. When it comes to skill building, you should identify the skills that you need to develop as a professional. So look for gaps in your skill set. You could refer to performance reviews that you have previously had in previous jobs. What skills do you need to build? What skills did people recommend that you needed to build? What were weaknesses that other people identified? Find resources, find courses, find books, find training, find some type of learning technique to help you build that skill. It could be soft skill, it could be technical skill, but the idea here is to be able to tell your potential employer when you go for your interview that you are currently building your skill set. This will definitely make you look proactive, and it will help to make you look like you are still invested in your career and invested in the industry. When it comes to networking with people who work at companies you would love to work for, networking with potential employers as well, are really good strategies to employ at this time. This could be online or in person. For example, you could start to connect with someone via LinkedIn, then you could move that interaction to an in-person coffee meeting, or you could attend networking events where you know potential employers are likely to be. The more people who get to know, like, and trust you, which is what happens when you network and get to know people, the more chance you have of finding a job or having someone to refer you to a potential job or refer a job directly to you. And the last one, starting a business venture, I include this because quite often when people are laid off from their job, it causes them to reflect on their life, to reflect on the direction they're going in. And you might start asking yourself questions about the career that you are on, the career path you are on. Is it what you want? Is it going to take you to where you want to go? Does it make you happy in life? If there's a part of you that is unhappy with your career journey, then I encourage you to explore the world of entrepreneurship and start to think about, if you were to start a business venture, what that would look like. Start throwing around ideas on your own or with someone else if you like, throwing around ideas of what kind of business you would start, what would be the steps that you would need to take to get this business venture off the ground. It doesn't necessarily mean you actually need to start this business venture, but what it does is it gives you something to look forward to. It gives you something to focus on, something positive to move towards. And you might actually uncover something about yourself that you never knew existed. You might actually realize that you would love to run your own business rather than be an employee. And worst case scenario, if you do not end up starting a business, you have at least learned what it will take to start a business. You've learned new skills which could be applied to the next job that you take. Just like any difficult period that you go through in life, the only thing that will get you through is strength, positive energy, and resilience. These are the only things that will help you to deal with a layoff and help you to keep going. Bad times are always followed by good times. You just have to persevere long enough to get to them. It's a test of faith, of hope, and of positive energy. And I hope this video has given you some help in those areas. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.